The Lord is a master in storytelling, and the message still comes across the centuries loud and clear. You can see the character praying away. I thank thee that I am not like the rest of men. On it goes, or even like this, publican. And on it goes, whereas the other one can't even raise his eyes. I tell you, this man went back to his home justified rather than the other. Translate. Do I have a right to throw stones when I have so many sins to confess and acknowledge myself? I was moved by some of the things that jumped out of this book this morning. It's a compilation of testimonies from the now deceased Gabriele Amort, and exorcist of Rome. But he was a disciple of Father Candido, whose cause actually for beatification was introduced in 2012. And he was exorcist in Rome from 1961 to 1992. He was a Passionist, and he exercised the ministry at the Santa Scala. That's where people would climb on their knees. And so we have various tidbits coming through from people who know what they're talking about. Padre Pio likewise was fully aware of it. One day, during an exorcism, Father Candido Amantini, Passionist priest, and my great teacher, as Father Gabriele speaking, asked a demon, "How many are you?" The demon responded, "We are so many that if we were visible, we would obscure the sun." Now that seems puzzling, and yet we are given in sacred scripture itself an idea of the number that fell, about a third. We find it in the 12th chapter of the Apocalypse. So people have asked how many angels there are, and the answer that people tend to give is something resembling infinity. We can't possibly imagine a huge army, massive. So, if a third of that is around, that's pretty awful news, because they hate us. Now, what comes through is that those who serve him resemble him. A great number of the angels fell because they rebelled against God. We recall that before admitting the angels to paradise, God subjected them to a trial of obedience and humility, of which we know the nature but not the specifics. The sin of the fallen angels was of pride and disobedience. So there's illusion and there's contaminated will. Satan, the most beautiful of all the angels, being aware of his extreme intelligence, rebelled at the idea of being subjected to someone. He forgot that he was a creature made by God. Many angels followed him in his folly of omnipotence and never turned back from their choice. I note, he says, incidentally, that this also happens with man, particularly in our day, when many appear to have forgotten God. The frenzy of omnipotence, of which men are often the victim in our times, seems to me precisely to re-enter into this dramatic perspective of autonomy and complete self-referentiality. We have in our time Indeed, we have always had on earth experts working for the wrong side. We can have evil geniuses. Now, just think, if the devil was the brightest of creatures, the intelligence which he had, and which, by the way, he still has and can use. Now, when we see, therefore, people who are getting very, very good at, for instance, acquiring vast amounts of money, of power and influence, one asks, are they aware whose puppet they are? On the other hand, one sees the beauty of simple souls. People ask sometimes when a handicapped baby is born, why does the Lord do this? Well, if they only saw down the line how this child perhaps will always remain pure and clean and innocent, compared with what that child might be if it had all the faculties, one sees, well, perhaps that child is not a loser. A good few years ago now, when I was doing teacher training, we had to do also a stint in special needs education because of integration. And it just happened that in our town of Carnarvon, there was a very good school of that nature, a pioneer school, Ysgol Pendar, very well known for its good work. And I was deeply moved by some of these hidden gems, the rejects of humanity. I remember a case in point would have been little Caroline, about 12 at the time. She never spoke. She could not communicate. She could only look. And her deep blue eyes were little lakes full of mystery. And I remember going home and writing these, which I'll give you afterwards, just quite a few lines to give you some idea of how it struck me. What world revolves behind these silent eyes? What oceans hide neath these two deep blue lakes? Are there for marred horizons other skies that we see not? Who knows what land each makes in his untapped devising? We don't know a person's thought. We don't know a blind person's thought. A person who has never seen, what can he see? And then I thought about how, on the other end of the spectrum, people who have great attention, brains to spare, work for the demon who uses them and end up in his fellowship forever. When I came back to this little lassie, who make but little noise, but pass unheard, unnoticed on the stage that this world sees. Unknown, yet knowing little. Knowing this, that two dumb lips can yet speak with a kiss. There was something there. This last night, yesterday, I believe about 6 o'clock, our faithful friend Ray, who used to pray with us faithfully, was taken to the house of the Father on the feast of the lady that he served so well, Our Lady of Knock. When I was visiting him, both times in that hospital, I always got the same message, what we used to call the oomph factor, had never gone away. He was fishing for souls there in his hospital bed, giving testimony to Jesus. He never lost the Ray oomph factor. dying at the age of around 40. Is this a failure? No, I say! He understood what we're here for. He wasn't brilliant, but his heart was on fire for Jesus. If only we knew what success is made of. I just conclude, my friends. Those who serve Lucifer resembled him in many things. They're self-sufficient. They know the answer to every question. They never let you speak and finish your point. They obliterate any threat to their truth. They have the capacity to obliterate, in fact, everything except themselves. They do exactly what Lucifer does. Indirectly, they gain control. They love noise. So the demon has many things, but some in particular fall easily into his hands. Impurity, his great tool. Money. Look what people will do for money. Obsession for a bit more money. What peace has an evil genius who's managed to burgle a great amount of money when he goes to sleep at night? Is he richer, or is he extremely poor in his interiority? Compared with a poor travelling person, perhaps struggles to make ends meet, but honestly, I think of the women in particular. We think that people are successful when they fit into certain categories. I tell you, it's not the case. But we need too to be careful. If we find ourselves similar to Satan in our insistence on being right, on owning certain things, on succeeding in certain things, and perhaps we too got it